his opponent in the red, representing Psystorm Gaming, he is surely epic! Very nice. Nate, so we were discussing, apparently people have called me all sorts of things. Including the cowardly lion from the Wizard of Oz. I don't see that one. Man, bear, pig. So it didn't settle on wolf or bear for that one. And somehow a pig snuck in there. Someone said Woody Harrelson from Natural Born Killers. I do not see that one at all.
I haven't seen that movie.
John Lennon cosplaying a bear was pretty good. Elton Wolf. I like that one. And Rasta Bear, last but not least. Those are my favorite nicknames today for myself from chat. So thank you guys for your contributions.
That's dope. My favorite was someone said I'm Party Chew, the evolved version of Pikachu.
I love it.
That was the one that I liked. That was the one that I liked today, and I appreciate that. Mine was a little bit less nebulous, but Paolo, I think your outfit today is just absolutely spectacular. You know, it's fun. It's fun getting everybody in on some shenanigans on a little holiday. Even if it's not a holiday that we normally get to experience it, we can still push the spirit of it forward, right? That's what living really is. You can't give up on these things just because they can't be as good as they usually are. And we've got a great game.
Yeah. We must adapt, and we'll see if the players are ready to adapt as well. As TLO is hiding a drone. What? That's a weird. What? Okay. Oh, okay. He got the supply, the extra supply from it, of course. A creative drone. Nothing more, yeah. He just built an extractor, yeah. It's worked into his build. And,
that's worth it for the drone. To get the extra one out a little bit faster, why not?
Hells yeah. And we're gonna see that TLO is gonna push out with his first creep tumor as well. Well-positioned Queen will push back the Reaper of Epic, as he is unable to find any damage with it so far. So things looking all right for the German. On the other side, Epic already with 2 gases. Does this give you any indicator of anything fancy here, Nate?
Well, when you go for this second gas in TVZ, the only thing it really tells us is that it's not like, that crazy fast third command center build. Like if this was Hero Marine from his matches earlier, we would have already had the third CC underway. He was turning that into an orbital at like 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So it does give you a slight bit of flexibility with the starport. You can easily go Raven with the Hellions. You can go Cloak Banshee without too much trouble. Battle cruisers are still on the menu, especially with a map like this where you have a tremendous amount of airspace behind where that natural is, behind where that third base and the main is. So you can kind of bounce around if you want. And there's a lot you can do there.
Yeah, and the mule as well goes down. Yeah, it had about 30% life left in it, maybe a couple of trips, but it still hurts, especially with 2 more SCVs going down and the Hellions being delayed and stalled from even preventing additional creep tumors, right? A huge win for just the 4 circlings of TLO to start.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice little grab. I mean, that mule, losing that mule is going to really interrupt the economic flow for the Terran player. And even if you're going to eventually get those minerals, when you lose the mule this early in the game, it can be like one of those, oh, my next depot's not ready yet. Or, oh, I can't start my command center now without canceling one of these 2 Hellions that I'm building. And you don't want to ever have to do something like that. But this is the awkward scenario of, oh, you can see that I'm researching Cloak. And I already have a Banshee. And is there a universe where you really think you're going to finish Cloak after that? I don't know. I would hope not. I would hope that he cancels Cloak, because if you know what, maybe this will be one of the games that can be used to prove me wrong, but I don't think aggressively Cloak Banshee is just that great versus Zerg. I don't see it usually accomplish a whole lot unless it's with a Hellbat all in, and even then it's still a little bit flimsy. But he's going for the E-Bays and the third CC behind it. However, all the Lings countering, this gets a little bit awkward. It's a lot of surface area on that command center.
Yeah, and there's definitely a next level play to be made there, where you anticipate your opponent so good that after scouting Cloak, they'll anticipate that you'll cancel it, right? And yeah, that's big. I mean, that's a lot of links for it, though.
Oh, it can't be worse than that. Oh, man.
Wait. Was there no cancel in the CC?
He canceled it, but it's catastrophic.
I don't know, Nate. That was a lot of servings, though.
To have it shut down like that is still that's still pretty rough, though. Like, it takes all the pressure off TLO to do anything other than just defend now.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's a big delay. At the same time, that was not inexpensive, I feel like, for TLO. Let's see if these Banshees can find something. And yeah, to what you were saying, I think that these Banshees with the cloak are kind of hoping that his opponent got greedy, right? That TLO gave him enough credit to say, okay, I saw the Banshee, therefore you're gonna cancel that cloak. And instead, if you don't cancel it, maybe you find your opponent trying to outsmart you and without one of these spore crawlers in one of the bases, and maybe you can do something with that. Epic's gonna find a queen. Oh,
okay. Well, there you go. Somebody is getting that value. That warms my heart to see the Banshees cleaning house here like the janitors of hell, sweeping up these Zerg corpses. A beautiful picture on Halloween. The Link's trying to get the Hellions over here. It's a little bit of a choke point, but the grenade boop actually kind of separates the Hellions, loses that ability to play around with the surface area. Look at the control, though, moving the weakened Hellions up towards the front. It's a very minor thing, a very easy thing to screw up, and gets quite a few more Ling kills out of that. So at the very least, you can force a few more larvae to be allocated for that for a next level defense. But I think, as we were saying earlier, Epic's been kind of slowed down enough to the point where I feel like TLO is still just very focused defensively. He's getting the Spire soon, but with this move out that's coming, we're gonna need to see a good amount of Banelings.
Oh, what I would love to see is for Epic to heal some of those units up, right? Like to repair the Banshees, to repair some of those Hellions, maybe even before moving out. Instead, well, he's gonna send the Banshees back now to be repaired. Actually, the Hellions are not as important. So this is fine, and the rocks here are going to provide a very good sieging position. We were talking about the importance of breaking down these rocks if you are the Zerg player going up against Terran, but it's been a hectic game, and there hasn't been much time for TLO to capitalize. The Banshees and the Marine reinforcements are going to be able to defend this counterattack easily, and with that, Epic is going to have a very strong position out on the map.
Yeah, that creep spread is a really important thing to focus on for TLO. Even though he was able to delay that third command center, he was not really able to set himself up that, at least in this phase, he can have that economic advantage anymore, because we got mules raining down on the third. Epic's got it saturated. One of the things he did a really good job at this game was continuing to build his SCV so that when the time came, he could easily secure that base. And now that the Mutalisks are going to be coming out, TLO gets, hopefully, an opportunity for him to try and push this army back a little bit or force it to come home with the Mutas counterattacking, but it's hard. This is a situation where you actually don't want to over finesse this. And I see all those overlords exposed, and you can't let those happen. You can't let those guys die.
Yeah, and here comes TLO. The creep is gonna run out, so the splits can be good, and they are pretty decent on the side of Epic. He's gonna clear most of the Banelings and push the Mutalisks back, but TLO did take decent trades. The Banshee's gonna not fall, actually, to the Queens, who did have the leash, I think, maybe barely if they pushed on a Hex forward. Regardless, TLO is going to buy himself some time to make some Banelings, and with that, plus 30 Zerglings on the way, he may be able to defend. Enough so that he decides to go up with a Muta. I love this move. He can catch reinforcements. Epic is aware of it and will pull back, Nate.
Yeah, this game got really awkward for a moment there. I'm not going to lie. I actually thought Epic was possibly about to just win it right there when I seen Mutalisks fighting against Marines and no more Lings or Banes. That definitely makes things complicated, but Epic's follow-ups and reactions to this have all been pretty solid, and especially because he's getting the extra command centers already and that fourth is not up and running. That is what makes me nervous, because you cannot allow the Terran player to have more secured economy than the Zerg. It's almost impossible to win if the Terran gets a base or two up against you when you're playing ZVT.
Yes, indeed. And I really like what you pointed out about perhaps over-finessing on the side of TLO sometimes. If we look at the resources lost, actually, Nate, even though the game feels like it hasn't gone that poorly for TLO, I mean, the resources lost really show that Epic has traded very cost-efficiently, and it wasn't that fight alone, that last fight. It was already 3,000 resource difference before the fight. So yeah, TLO delays the CC, but it costs him so many links and so many little trades here and there where he's just, you know, the Hellions, that's where both players are looking at the same screen, and you know it, and the Hellions are being microed very well by Epic onto the front. And then TLO tries to send the links on forward, to try and catch those Hellions with just 1 or 2 links, but ends up losing so many links in the process of doing that, right? Because Epic is aware and is actively protecting those Hellions. So yeah, like little moves like that where both players are looking at the same screen and Epic has taken the better trades. Let's see if TLO can do something here. So there's a big choke, but the SCVs are kind of clumped up. Not clumped enough, however, Nate, only 6 go down.
That command center taking a bit of a beating makes me somewhat nervous too. I'm like, okay, he's getting a lot of work done here. I'm not sure he was able to really get what he needed though, because the rest of the army says, well, now we can just go across without too much trouble. And we've got TLO with only 80 army supply against 131 cats. Zerg wins by overwhelming, not by being cost effective. So I'm not 100% sure how this is going to go, because he wants to bring a massive counter to see if he can force something to go his way this game.
Yeah, and it's gonna be very difficult. Surely he's gonna get rid of this third, but not without paying the price for it. All the mutants actually will go down, so not even that. Jeez.
Well, what do you do now? Where do you go from there? The fourth base for TLO is killed, and the army there is actually still alive. There's more medevacs than there are Marines with his attack cats.
Yeah, a little bit absurd. Amazing macro. And yeah, TLO's gonna be forced to tap out. Whew.
That was well done. That was really well done. You know, I look at the way that opening game played out. I liked a lot of what I saw for TLO, but yeah, I know you brought up a really good point. I didn't really consider how much of an investment all those Zerglings were, because he did lose all of them to get the cancel on that third base. I'm just surprised that it didn't really seem to throw Epic off. I feel like that's one of those things that can really throw your game plan off. You get slowed down. You're not able to make that big attack when you want to do it. But no, he canceled the fourth base, killed all the Banelings, some of the Queens, a bunch of Overlords, Mutas, and what TLO did to try and swing things back was definitely nice. But yeah, Epic's playing really damn well today. It's a really good gameplay out of the Terran.
Absolutely, super clean. I mean, he was really on top of his economy and his development, right? In terms of structures, he did such a good job. He was already maxed when TLO was just at 150 supply towards the end of that game. So it was always going to be difficult for the German to find a way back. He really needs a stronger start here. Those Banshees, Nate, I mean, they were scouted. The cloak was or should have been accounted for, and TLO even made spores in each base, but still they found a lot of damage, and you just can't let that happen.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty uncharacteristic. Banshees coming in, usually see him get 1 or 2 drones maybe, but the amount that he was able to do and kill a queen in the mineral line next to the spore without losing either Banshee says a lot about both the defensive side but also Epic's control, because it was clearly very tight in the first game of the series. We're going to Oxide for game number 2. And yeah, that's weird. It's been an interesting start. Honestly, it's been a pretty weird start to this series.
Yes, indeed. And Epic is those type of players that, like, personally, I have always struggled so much with. Every time I play Epic, it feels like he's just got so much stuff, and he has very good control. He's a very complete player, especially, I think, in this matchup. But of course, that might be my biases bleeding into this. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, it is the German blue Zerg player, TLO.
And his opponent in the Northeast, the red Terran player currently leading this series. He is Psystorm Gaming's Epic.
All right. Well, Epic playing a wonderful game. And yeah, with those Banshees, Nate, I really think that you need to see where they're coming in, right? We live in a day and age where players are just so very good at finding the little openings, especially at this level of play, that if you don't have armies pre-positioned, that spore is not going to cut it. And that sounds ridiculous, but those Banshees like kind of just sealed the deal, I feel like, for Epic, right? They did way too much.
Yeah, they're never supposed to do that. And like that's kind of what I was saying. And I know I mention it every now and again, but I feel like Banshees just don't usually generate that much value. And when they do, I guess you can see what happens. That was an absolute massacre of a game. from the part of Epic. I like that he's going for the SCV Scout. One thing worth noting, when TLO played his series yesterday, I think I did get to cast TLO. TLO had a game. He played Masa, and they played a game on Submarine, and he did the Roach build, that 3 Ravager rush. I feel like actually, didn't you make that build? Weren't you like the first person who discovered it? Well, this was when Ravagers shot at the speed of Marines, so you only needed like one of them. But I remember, Cats, you put a lot of bad memories into some Terran player minds with that one.
Yeah, as soon as Ravagers came out, basically, I believe it was at the start of Legacy of the Void, I came up with a build that was really cool, and that Sandster actually used, I believe, to defeat Teja in a clan war. And yeah, I like the 3 Ravager poke. Otherwise, I'm not sure if he did the 3 Ravager poke with like a Ling all in, or the just 3 Ravagers into macro.
Oh, he went. So Masa did that thing where he builds 2 barracks at the front of his natural with no command center behind it and made Reapers. So TLO just killed him. The Ravagers. he walked away with a pretty easy dub, and I was like, I thought to myself, because I actually don't really like that Ravager build much in these metas, if a Terran scouts especially, but it's extremely good if you bait someone into playing the smallest map, and you're like, there's no way he won't go Reapers, right?
Yeah, I think the build really fall off when they redesigned the Cyclone back to what it is now. Yeah, because that's correct, right? Back to what it is now. Yeah, that's the correct sentence for the Cyclone. But yeah, I think since then it's kind of easy to deal with that sort of build. So I love that TLO would have exploited the fact that there couldn't be a Cyclone out, and that's the type of player that he is. He's very intelligent. So.
Yeah, it was. He does smart stuff like that, and that's one of the reasons why I think TLO is really fun to watch, because he'll break out a build that's not really meta, but he knows against a specific opponent on a specific map, especially at the start of a series when no one's really set any expectations yet. There is some opportunity to catch the player off guard. Now the Overlord comes in, and we've seen this before, Cats. TLO's Overlord goes in, he sees, okay, Tech Lab spinning, Starport's going. There isn't a Banshee already here to be seen nearby, but TLO should have some inkling this is going to be a little bit similar to the last game.
Yeah, would you cancel the cloak this time around? Because last time you kept it if you're Epic. So I feel like this time he maybe cancels it, but starting the second Banshee, perhaps not, right?
I guess I understand that at least on a base level, if you're worried about any sort of early attack, the Banshees will always be nice, because Zerg has no mobile anti-air until they get Hydras or Mutas, right? Or a Nidus. But at this phase, if he can get 8 drone kills, yes, that's what I'll say. If he can get the same level of production that he got last game, I have no problem with it. We'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, one very minor thing that I see other players do, and I also enjoy doing myself, when you know it's Banshee, I like to position the Spore Crawlers like a hex a little bit to the right in this case, right? To where the Banshee is most likely to come in. Because the Banshee never wants to commit into the middle or inwards of where it might be surrounded by other queens or just threatened by the amount of creep, right? It always wants to be out on the outskirts. So I feel like you can get away with defending a little bit bigger of a portion of your mineral line or even your gas if you have, it's going to come into play here, for example, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think this is definitely one of those scenarios where, oh my goodness, I'm trying to I'm losing my thought here, seeing if he kills the band, if he gets a queen kill again, this is what I usually see, right? You get 1 drone, maybe 2 drones, and then at that point I'm like, well, the Zerg player has detection, obviously. Even if you were still just trying to poke these bases, it's hard to actually get damage. But there it is. Okay, he gets a queen. And this is what I was talking about, because the Spore gives really big detection range. So even if you don't get Cloak, you can usually still get a drone or 2. But he actually makes use of the Cloak there, gets that queen. The other supporting cast is not able to assist. And that is really nice. And I think one of the biggest things you could do is try to deny this 4th base with it too, especially since you've limited the queen count.
I wonder how he got the queen of position. Did he decloak to pull them away, or what did he do? Because the queen had to get out of position for that to happen, right? I'm not sure. I wasn't looking exactly there. Well, there's a big mix around.
Oh, he gets the tank. He's got the tank. So the Marines, the Hellions are running back to help the Marines, but he kills a siege tank for the cost of a few lings. Not bad. That 4th base, was that Was it canceled? Was it killed?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess canceled here, but that was a really nice move from TLO.
Killed.
That's exactly
our
what.
observer,
No.
Our observers just showed us with their interface. It shows the building's lost. It was killed. The hatchery got killed.
Oh, that's not good. All right, well, TLO then not taking an efficient trade. I mean, we were talking about that tank, but obviously a hatchery is a little bit more expensive and is gonna delay things further as well. That tank would have been useful defensively, but it's not gonna have any impact in, say, the power of these two medevacs crossing the map from Epic here, and that's gonna be enough to pull the army of TLO back, but Epic has to be paying attention.
Good lift up. Yeah, if those banelings were able to hit the Marines and take the wind out of the sails here for Epic, that's exactly the kind of thing that TLO needs to happen right now. Because
positioning here,
I don't know. He focused a lot of the micro on those things, right, to get that tank, but then having the 4th killed instead of canceled. I don't. Are you happier with? I don't know.
No.
I guess you can't. Neither player can really be happy with what happened.
I don't know. I think I'm a little bit happier if I'm Epic. I don't know. My hatcheries, being delayed feels a little bit worse because, again, the tank to what Epic is doing right now, it has no effect, right? It's only if he dies to a big all-in that the tank would have been super useful. That seems rather unlikely here from TLO, whereas the hatchery is what would have allowed TLO to transition a little bit easier. So I think in this tournament setups and with this brand of players, Nate, sometimes it's like you feel safer going macro than trying to go for an attack, basically.
I agree with you. I think if Epic wanted to attack, though, the reason we haven't seen it already is because he lost one of his teams, right?
Fair.
I think that's the possible side impact. But if he wasn't planning on doing like an attack immediately, then you're 100% right. Yeah, just the tank doesn't really serve. It doesn't hurt to not have it as much as not being able to saturate a base, right? If you have extra drones that you've already built, or you want the extra larva, because the hatchery for the Zerg is their production, so it has more value than just being a resource collector.
Yeah, you do make a very good point though, because as the Zerg, you kill that tank, you should feel a little bit more free to drone up a little bit more, right? Because it's far less likely that you'll see a scary attack. That said, it is now time.
It's time.
It's 9 minutes in, and now it's time for the scary attack. And let's see what happens here as Epic has a blob of red crossing the map. TLO has good creep spread and a decent army composition to deal with this, but it's one of the harder maps, I think, to deal with tank pushes. There's rocks all over, and TLO has not managed to clear them yet.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting, isn't it, though? Right? Like, those chokes are very, very good for siege tanks if they can make use of them. I guess because of where he's ending up attacking, it doesn't matter since this hatchery is what he would want to defend. But there's no creep here, Cats. This is super dead. It has to cancel this one. And no cancel, by the way.
Oh, but look at the amount of army that Epic left back, and TLO is not going to find any damage. A lot of links just going to their death there. And this is still a decent position, even though he's not using those rocks. I would have preferred that position, and he is deep on creep. TLO might have an opportunity to clean house here. I would love to see a bigger 360 flank if he is willing to lose that base, which he seems.
Yeah, I don't know why. With that scan, he wanted to see the Hydra Bane, but I feel like he maybe should have tried to get the tumors that were underneath his army. Great splits thus far from Epic, and he's going to clean up